Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 2 minutes from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 2-minute time check, stations. Attention, stations on the network. Our broadcast will begin in 1 minute from my mark. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. That was your 1-minute time check, stations.
On the Hawkeye Sports Network, from Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. This is Hawk Talk, brought to you by Iowa Corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. Mid-American Energy. Look up, look out for overhead power lines. Visit midamericanenergy.com for electrical safety tips. By your local Ford dealers. Also brought to you by U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. And by University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. Here is your host, the voice of the Hawkeyes, Gary Dolphin.
Welcome into Iowa football and Hawk Talk with head football coach Kirk Ferentz. Good evening, everybody, from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City in the Hilton Garden Inn. Hawkeyes bye week, at least the first one, has gone bye-bye, and the Hawkeye football program is back in action after the first of 2 bye weeks, facing a mighty challenge in third-ranked Ohio State at Ohio Stadium, the acclaimed Horseshoe, coming up Saturday afternoon right here on the Hawkeye Radio Network, starting at 12:30 with our pregame coverage, 2:30 for the kickoff. Jump on board if you're not headed out to Columbus. We'd love to have you on the Hawkeye Radio Network tonight. We greet you from View Rooftop. Welcome to Hawk Talk. We're inside the Hilton Garden Inn, on top of the Hilton Garden Inn, actually, the 12th floor, where we have a beautiful panorama, a great scenic view of downtown Iowa City, as well as the surrounding Johnson County area. If you're listening in, you can reach us on the Hawkeye Radio Network to be a part of the program. We're on the new Varsity Network app on your phone. If you're watching on TV, you can catch us on KCRG Channel 9.2. Aaron and the crew are here again tonight after a week off. You can watch us on the official Iowa Hawkeyes YouTube page. Everywhere you can watch and or listen to the Hawk Talk program with Coach Ferentz, who will join us shortly after 7 o'clock. You can also join us via with your questions via Twitter, Facebook, the U.S. Cellular Hawkeye hotline, or by email. So let me give you those addresses right away. On Twitter, at Gary Dolphin, very simple. On Twitter, at Gary Dolphin. Send us your posts. On Facebook, at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. The U.S. Cellular text line, that's a new additive this year. Area code 319-853-8344. 319-853-8344, U.S. Cellular text line. Or you can email us your comment or question to hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. That's hawktalk@HawkeyeRadioNetwork.com. So the mighty Buckeyes, ranked number 3 in the country, await Iowa's arrival in that state's capital this weekend. What you need to know, I think the first nugget that everybody wants to wrap their arms around, we have two of the best rushing defenses, two of the best defenses against the run in all of college football. Both the Hawkeyes and the Buckeyes are giving up just 62 yards a game on the ground. That's important, especially from Iowa's side, in that Caleb Johnson now and that Hawkeye rushing attack have gone north of 200 yards in each of the first 4 games. Caleb Johnson leads the nation in rushing. He's averaging about 8 yards a carry. So you can bet the focal point of the Buckeyes in practice this week is Caleb Johnson. Ohio State has the more balanced attack, at least on paper. They're putting up 500 yards of offense, pretty much split run to pass. But the Iowa defense, we hope, is up for the challenge. Coming up this weekend, a 2:30 start, 12:30 pregame here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Iowa's rushing attack is 200 yards plus. The Hawks are putting up a little over 400 yards per game. Ohio State is over 500. The Buckeyes ranked 3rd in the country. They're top 5. Certainly top 10, top 5 in most defensive statistical categories. And as usual, when you talk NIL, all you need to do is look at the Buckeye program. They've got 2 handfuls of transfers on this year's roster at critical junctures, critical positions. Will Howard is the grad transfer quarterback, 6'4", 235-pounder, moved in from Kansas State. Their top running back is Quinshawn Judkins. He's an Ole Miss transfer. At tight end from Ohio, they've got Will Kazmarek. That's Ohio University. They've got a couple other transfers in the offensive front, in the offensive line. Hawkeyes, I think, have the advantage in the offensive line. They're a little bit more veteran, a little bit more experienced, but Ohio State's center is an outstanding one, Seth McLaughlin. He moved in from Alabama. Rarely do you get a transfer to come to your place from Alabama. Ohio State, though, is Ohio State, one of the true blue bloods in all of college football. But the Hawks will show up. They'll be ready to go. Both teams are 1-0 in the Big Ten. The Buckeyes had a bye week when the Hawks were up in Minneapolis dispatching the Golden Gophers 31-14 a week ago Saturday. Then last Saturday evening, Ohio State rolled into East Lansing. Good game for about a quarter, maybe most of the first half. Buckeyes put up 21 points on the second quarter and rolled to a victory over Michigan State. 28-7. Do I have that score right? I'll double check on that. Let me just, 38-7. 38-7. Michigan State went down at home. So the Buckeyes can hurt you in so many ways. Interesting, though, the last 2 times these teams have met, I know many of you remember the 2017 game when the Hawks turned the Buckeyes over 4 times, including a pick-6 to start the game. 50-pointed Ohio State. 2 years ago, Ohio State did the same thing to the Hawkeyes, forcing 6 turnovers out in Columbus and winning 54-10. Hopefully that does not happen, or that inclination is not even close on Saturday afternoon. Bye week came at a real good time for Iowa. Here's quarterback Cade McNamara.
I mean, I think for a lot of us, we were able to, spend a lot more time with Indy and stuff like that instead of, Friday we did a little bit more competitive work as far as just, starting defense or starting offense. But I think overall, the entire week was really just, a focus on the fundamentals. And for us to, whether that's going against the defense or us just working by ourselves, I think last week was huge. And I think, as the season goes on, we constantly want to get better every single week. And even if it's a bye week, I know we have another bye week coming up here in 6 weeks. So for us to take advantage of even the times that we're not playing to still get better is going to be huge for our team.
Cade McNamara, Hawkeye quarterback, healthy and ready to go for Saturday's contest at Ohio State. This is just the third meeting between the Buckeyes and the Hawkeyes since 2013. Iowa won 55-24 in 2017. Of course, we just talked about the 54-10 Buckeye win 2 years ago, 2022. But I'll remind you that that was a 10-0 game at halftime. And that's when Ohio State had quarterback C.J. Stroud, and we know about his exploits since then. Great career he's started out in down in Houston with the Texans. They also had Marvin Harrison Jr. So the Hawks were right there at 10-0 at the break with an offense that was struggling at the time. And, of course, in the second half, it was all Ohio State as they turned the Hawkeyes over a number of times. But that was then. A new day dawns Saturday. Iowa at Ohio State. Airtime 12:30 here on the Hawkeye Radio Network with kickoff at 2:30. Hawkeye Athletic Director Beth Getz is in the building tonight, enjoying the fair and the camaraderie, and of course the Hawk fans who have crowded into View Rooftop. Beth is going to join us for a few minutes here. We're going to talk all things Hawkeye sports. That's coming up next from View Rooftop, where we invite you to come out and watch the Hawks, listen to the Hawks on game day Saturday. We're here every Wednesday night for Hawk Talk. Stop by on football Saturdays to View Rooftop for a new experience unique to Iowa City. Immerse yourself in an invigorating environment with comfortable contemporary indoor and outdoor seating, high-definition televisions for watching the game, tailgate specials, and live music. Enjoy the camaraderie and celebrate with a toast at View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in Iowa City. Here's the number for reservations, 319-519-4650, 319-519-4650. And we're back to visit with Beth Getz, Hawkeye Athletic Director, right after this pause from View Rooftop on Learfield.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. Support Iowa's corn farmers by pumping up with Unleaded 88. Fuel your drive to the game with a clear choice at the pump. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, greener, and homegrown. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Let's go Hawks.
When you live in the Midwest, you're accustomed to leading the nation in certain things, from corn and pork production to eggs and soybeans. And now we're adding another product to that list, clean, renewable wind energy. By investing in wind turbines and partnering with area farmers and landowners, Mid-American Energy is harvesting wind power that's homegrown right in our very own backyard, which not only provides customers with low, stable energy rates, but also the support to make our Midwest communities safer and stronger.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success on the field and off the field requires a strong work ethic and constant improvement. That's true no matter what field you're on. There are less than 5% of Iowans making a living off the land. The Hawkeyes are proud to celebrate Iowa's hardworking farm families. Agriculture touches lives in so many ways. We feel it's important to recognize the men and women responsible for producing our nation's food, fuel, and fiber. Farmers are the backbone of the state of Iowa and the whole country. That's why our players are proud to wear the A&F logo on their helmets. It serves as a reminder to all of us, America needs farmers. Join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate America's farmers during A&F Game Day on October 12th. You could win the ultimate A&F fan package, 4 reserve seats, sideline access, and an autographed football. To register, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
Join Michelle Altmeyer on the Hawkeye Tailgate Show at the official watch party headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Grove Brewery. For each away game, check out the Hawkeye Tailgate pregame show live at Big Grove in Iowa City. Big Grove is your official Hawkeye game watch destination with game day parties in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Iowa City.
Hawk Talk with Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz for a Wednesday night after bye week. Gary Dolphin here high atop 12th floor. That's tall. We're in some tall timber tonight, as we are each week here at the Hilton Garden Inn at the View Rooftop Restaurant. Join us tonight. We got room for you. We're just getting lathered up and rearing up and ready to go. We've got the baseball playoffs on. We're talking Hawkeye football. It's a great time of the year where sports overlap, and who better to talk to about that than Beth Getz. Let's welcome in Beth Getz, Hawkeye Athletic Director. Great to see you, as always. And I don't know if there is a busier time of the year for you than right now.
Oh, crossover seasons, right? And you get everybody going at once. And so I don't know if we think about them as being busy as much as we do exciting, but lots going on.
Well, let's start right at the top with football. Big win at your old school, Minnesota, where you were interim athletic director for a period. I know you enjoyed the bye week, but let's not... Bye week for football, it means everybody else is on fire, and soccer and field hockey are right at the top of the list.
They really are. You know, it was a really interesting bye week. Actually, no one at home, which almost never happens.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that is a rarity.
I was a fan like everybody else, watching football games and soccer and field hockey from the couch. So, volleyball as well. So, really great weekends. Soccer just continues to be tremendous. So they've been a ton of fun to watch, and field hockey's battling. And then how about our volleyball team starting 0-2 on the road in the Big Ten?
2-0.
2-0. Sorry, 2-0. Yes,
no.
2-0.
Jim Barnes would not like to hear 0-2.
2-0.
No, great wins at Rutgers, at Maryland. Soccer's 9-0-3. Coach Diani got his 100th win as the coach of the Hawks, or as a head soccer coach a few weeks ago. And field hockey, you know, it's a gauntlet every night when field hockey takes the field, because you're playing number 1 Northwestern. What did Lisa tell me? 5 of the top 9 teams in America are in the Big Ten. I mean, you love that kind of competition, but it's great theater.
It really is. And, you know, that's one of the things that makes being in the Big Ten just so incredible, and the new Big Ten, too.
Yes.
But you talk about being in the best conference in the country, that's a legitimate factor across our sports. I mean, the competition now, coast to coast, it just couldn't be at a higher level. And that's what our athletes want, and that's what our coaches want. So they get to go out, they prepare for it, and you're going to get a great, great match, great game every time you're out there. And
about to debut, this is always an incredible time of the year when we turn the page on fall and October, is we even have college basketball exhibition games now the end of this month. It used to be mid-November, then it was early November. Now it's late October for men's and women's basketball. Women have sold out the building over at Carver for another year. I know Fran's got an exciting young team. He can't wait to get on the floor. I was talking to Peyton Sanford the other day, preseason all Big Ten. But when the sports start overlapping, everybody's going 110 miles an hour, but it's a good feeling.
Oh, it really is. I mean, it's just that excitement that's in the building every day. And when you have so many going on, you're trying to figure out who's up next. But basketball, obviously we got media days today and tomorrow for the women and men, and those two groups have been at it, as we know, since the summer. 2 new looks and 2 really exciting looks, and so I know all our Hawkeye fans are going to be thrilled to get to know both of these teams, and they're going to be something special too.
Back to football, we're looking at video on KCRG 9.2. The Swarm arriving in Minneapolis, and of course some great shots of Children's Hospital, the home portion of the schedule, as we review the first month of the year. But they brought Floyd back to where he rightfully belongs, those cornfields of Johnson County. He'd lost a little weight up in the Twin Cities. You know, they got a lot of fine dining in Minneapolis, but it was good to have him come back on the truck after a 31-14 dispatch of the Gophers. And out of that game, Caleb Johnson, what a year he's having. He's the Big Ten co-offensive player of the week. And Reese Dakin, our punter, the freshman averaged about 50 yards a kick. He is the Ray Guy Punt Award winner for last week. It's a great springboard into Columbus.
It really is. And as you know, Coach talks about all the time, team football, and you've got these guys that are stepping up and are at the top of their game, and so fun, just so fun to watch. Caleb come into his own and Reese take over. I mean, talk about the shoes he's trying to fill. So what a fun thing but to get that game on the road, to be able to bring Floyd back, it just means a lot, I think, to everybody. And that second half, just the way they did that, the way they went about that, I think the patience we had, going into that, I think was just really incredible. So it was fun. I say this all the time, there's no better place to be than a winning locker room with your football team. And that was one happy locker room in Minnesota. So we're looking forward to bringing that momentum forward.
I know you've been to Columbus a few times, and we're about to see the immovable object against the irresistible force on Saturday. The Buckeyes are giving up 6.8 points a game, 62 rushing yards a game, and the Hawks have the best running back in America right now. So something's got to give.
That's always the case, but you watch the way what Coach has done with this program over the years. He has everybody prepared each and every week, and this team has been working hard, and it's great to come off this bye week with a little bit of rest, I'm sure. But I guarantee every time we go to step on the field, and what those guys know is that they're prepared and capable, have the tools to compete. And I don't think we're going to see anything different on Saturday, and you see how the game goes. But I've got confidence in our Hawks. Don't count them out regardless of what the stats are telling you.
Absolutely not. Just the third time these two teams have met in the last almost 10 years, which is really almost ludicrous when you think about it. But now with 18 teams, you got to spread the pie around a little bit. But big picture, let's go wide. College football, college sports in general. NIL is the buzzword acronym. And I know the NCAA and the schools are trying to iron out a package, a program. In the meantime, you're out beating the bushes for money to support our great young athletes. Big picture, where are we with NIL?
Oh, just ask me an easy question there, Gary.
Well, give me a generic
got a lot
answer.
Of answers here. It's a really interesting time in the college athletic landscape, and I really think that the changes and the momentum that's coming is going to be good. It's just going to look a little bit different than it has in the past, and it's certainly a great opportunities for our young men and women across our sports. And we just got to modernize, college athletics, and that's going to be a little. There's going to be some bumps in the road as we figure that out. But we're so fortunate here. I think just the type of student athlete that our coaches recruit. We've got a fan base that's been incredibly supportive of making sure we can provide an environment that they want to come compete in, which includes playing in front of these sold-out arenas and in front of all these crowds, and providing that NIL support that we need. And so that means we still have a lot of work to do, and it's really important. I mean, we want to compete at the top of the Big Ten, and we understand this is going to be a part of it going forward. And so we're going to make sure we can be there.
Go Swarm, go Hawks. How have you? I mean, you can't be an athletic director at this level without having a headache or two every day, but you sure look like you're enjoying your tenure here the first couple years in.
Well, every day is a good day getting to do what we do. I mean, every industry has some challenges, and there's no doubt about it. But when you get to support these young men and women and watch them compete and watch them stand back up after they, get knocked down, I mean, it's been really great. But I just can't say enough about the environment, the commitment, of the Iowa Hawkeye fan base and community. And when you get to face challenges with all that at your back, you just don't think about it as much like that. So I know no matter what challenge it is, that together this team's going to figure it out, and we're going to be able to be successful.
Well, let's conclude with a facilities update. The Goshke Wrestling Center is now open. Not a better brick and mortar in America, and only rightly so, and deserving for Tom Brands and Hawkeye and Clarissa and Hawkeye women's wrestling. Those sports will be gearing up for another year, but facilities, you're always moving forward. You have to be.
It is, and I think that you want to make sure you have a facility that matches the tradition of the brand. And in women's and men's wrestling now, you've got 1 year snapshot of a national championship, and obviously the great long history that that's been here in men's wrestling, and so that's just a state of the art place that was made possible by so many generous supporters. And so I just was over with Tom yesterday watching practice a little bit, and it's the smiles on the faces of those guys and young women when they get to go in there is pretty incredible. But we've got that project. We're about to open in January, as quick as January, a gymnastics and spirit squad facility. Thrilled about that. And then now I know you've heard me talk a little bit about our next big project, which is some renovation we need to do to Carver Hawkeye Arena. And that facility is getting some years on it, just like you and me.
Yeah, exactly.
And so because of that, it just needs a little bit of love. So we'll look forward to making sure that facility can be a great home for our fans and our student athletes for the next couple decades.
Well, I wish I only had 40 years on me, but you know what? I feel younger, so that's all.
You look great.
You look great. Yeah. Great to see you. We'll see you in Columbus this weekend. Thanks for coming by. Okay, Beth Getz, ladies and gentlemen, Hawkeye Athletic Director. We're at View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City. Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz will continue right after this brief pause. You're listening to Hawk Talk with the head coach of the Hawkeyes from Learfield.
Hey there, sports fans. Hungry for a legendary experience? Look no further than Bump's Restaurants, proudly named after the legendary Bump Elliott. Nestled right at the Finkbine Golf Course on Melrose Avenue, Bump's is your go-to spot for mouth-watering meals. Present your ticket from today's game at Bump's and get a buy one appetizer, get the second appetizer free deal. Offer good through the next home game. See you soon off Melrose Avenue at the Finkbine Golf Course. Bump's Restaurant, a legendary place with legendary food.
Tournament Club of Iowa, designed by golf legend Arnold Palmer. TCI is his only signature course in the state. TCI is a public course offering a challenging yet enticing experience for golfers of all levels and is managed by Kaler Golf. Cap off your round with breathtaking views and a delicious meal at the TCI Bar and Grill. Looking for a unique setting for your wedding party or outing? Look no further than the newly renovated clubhouse at TCI. Visit tcofiowa.com to book your tee time today.
Hawk fans, be sure to visit and connect with these local business partners of the Iowa Hawkeyes, located in the Des Moines area. Carr Law, Community Choice Credit Union, and Royal Flooring. Facing a criminal charge or complicated family law situation, Carr Law Firm has the trial experts you need. As experienced trial attorneys, we understand how much is on the line. Go to carlawiowa.com for a free consultation. That's Carr with 2 R's, lawiowa.com.
Hey Hawkeye fans, Peyton Sanford here with Iowa Men's Basketball. Your support in the stands is critical to our success on game day, but now you have another way to make a real impact. Join the Swarm today and partner with my teammates and me to service charities throughout Iowa. Together, we're making our state stronger and helping Iowa athletics become the place where we experience the thrill of winning championships. Head to iowaswarm.com for more information. Let's make a difference, Hawkeye Nation.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Hawkeyes on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Cedar Ridge Distillery continues to be the home of Iowa's favorite bourbon with the original 86 bourbon whiskey. Not only is it always made with Iowa corn, but we let Iowa put its own stamp on the whiskey by aging it in non-climate controlled rickhouses. Make your next drink with Iowa's favorite, the original 86 bourbon by Cedar Ridge. Learn more at cedarridgedistillery.com. Cedar Ridge Distillery, Swisher, Iowa. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City. In the Hilton Garden Inn, I'm Gary Dolphin. Coach Ferentz will be joining us in just a minute. At least I hope Kirk remembered we have a show this week. I know the bye week, he gets wrapped up in so many other things outside of media responsibilities. I'm just kidding. He doesn't forget. He may stop at Starbucks on the way over, but he'll be here shortly. That gives me time to mention the Hawkeye Huddle. I know many of you fans love to get out to Columbus. It's one of the great blue blood programs is Ohio State, 11 national championships, but it's also one of the great stadiums, like Kinnick Stadium. Ohio Stadium was built in 1922. Kinnick was built in the Roaring 20s as well. It's an incredible facade. It's a facility. One of the great traditions in college football is the band when it dots the I in Script, Ohio, right before kickoff. It's a great pregame show. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. They're going to honor all of their Hall of Fame inductees this weekend at halftime, so that'll be a treat. A lot of names that you remember from Ohio State football, basketball, and beyond. But if you're headed to the game, be sure and stop by the Hawkeye Huddle, which will occur a couple hours before kickoff. Thanks to the iClub, the Office of Alumni Engagement, and the Iowa Swarm Collective. This Saturday from 12:30 until 2:30 Eastern Time. Again, the kick is 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Iowa time. So if you're still on Iowa time, it would be 11:30 to 1:30 for the Hawkeye Huddle at the Fawcett Center, which is right on Olentangy River Road in Columbus. It's within a mile of the stadium. You can walk to the football game from the Hawkeye Huddle at the Fawcett Center. A beautiful facility. And then go watch the Hawks and the Buckeyes kick off at 2:30 Iowa time. For more details on the Hawkeye Huddle, just visit jointheiclub.com. That's jointheiclub.com, or find the iClub at Join the iClub on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hawkeye Huddle coming up on Saturday, a couple hours before kickoff in Columbus, Iowa, and Ohio State. Our program tonight is brought to you by Hawkeyes. Do you have Hawkeyes Midwest in your farming game plan? Hawkeyes Bio 800 Plus products are enriched with soil microbes to build soil health and increase your yield. Soil nourishing, root stimulating. That's Hawkeyes Midwest. Go to Hawkeyes, Holganix, HawkeyesMidwest.com for more information. We're also sponsored by Iowa Corn. Throughout the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series, Iowa Corn promotes honest, hard-working values that are uniquely Iowan. On behalf of Iowa's corn farmers, we salute all athletes for their hard work and determination to be the best both on and off the field. Hawkeyes, just like our top athletes, our state leads the nation in corn and ethanol production. Go to iowacorn.org, iowacorn.org, and learn how corn grows Iowa. On the way down today, I noticed a lot of harvesting going on, mostly beans. Didn't see any shaved cornfields. Those stalks are still turning from a bright green to a golden brown, or an old gold, as I like to say. But in the next couple of weeks, we're into October, the temperature's dropping a little bit, and that corn will be ripe for picking. It looks like another bin buster, as my grandfather used to say on his farm up near Cascade, another bin busting crop to get in the bins or move down the Mississippi River and all places around the world. So it's a great time of the year, a great time for Big Ten football as well. The Hawkeyes at 3-1, 1-0 in the Big Ten. Likewise, the Buckeyes at 1-0 in conference play and 4-0 overall. We've got plenty of text messages and Facebook posts ready for Coach Ferentz as soon as he gets here. Let's pause 10 seconds right now for station identification. We're at the top of the hour. We'll give you a quick scoreboard update after that. 10-second ID break here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. You're listening to Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz. And welcome back to View Rooftop in the Hilton Garden Inn. Appreciate another great crowd here tonight as we hit week 5 for Iowa football. The Hawkeyes hosting, or not hosting, we wish, at Ohio State. 2:30 kick here on the Hawkeye Radio Network with Pat Angerer and yours truly. Rob Brooks and the crew will greet you on the air at 12:30 Saturday afternoon from the Horseshoe. Time now for a U.S. Bank scoreboard update. Baseball playoffs underway, and we have a couple finals in. And once again, the road teams won today in the American League. The Tigers knocked out the Houston Astros 5-2 down in Houston. So Detroit moves on to the championship series of the American League. Kansas City has just gone final, defeating the Baltimore Orioles 2-1 out at Camden Yards. So some would call that a mild upset. Baltimore the 4 seed, Kansas City the 5 seed. Detroit and Houston, that would definitely be an upset. The Astros, winners of their division, lose at home, back-to-back losses. That doesn't happen very often to Jose Altuve and company. But Detroit, an up-and-comer, a rising team, defeats Houston 5-2. Ironically, A.J. Hinch, who's an Iowa native, who coached Houston to several championships when he was a manager down there. A.J. now the manager in Detroit. He certainly knows the Astros well. So Detroit wins at 2-0. That was the best of 3. Detroit wins 2-0 over Houston. Kansas City likewise 2-0 over Baltimore. So that means that the Royals will head to Yankee Stadium to take on the New York Yankees, and Aaron Judge and Detroit will face the Guardians in Cleveland. Those series will start this weekend. Now in the National League, you've got the Mets in Milwaukee for a second straight day. The Mets won last night 8-4 over the Brew Crew. It's 1-1. Milwaukee, New York in the top of the second. Later tonight, Atlanta will be at San Diego, with the home team San Diego nursing a 1-0 lead there. Quarterback Cade McNamara, of course, he came to Iowa from Michigan, and he knows all about Ohio State. And he said it's fine that Iowa is an underdog heading into the game with the Buckeyes this weekend.
That's just an awesome opportunity for us to, if anything, we should play more free, knowing that, you know, that's fine if everyone expects us to lose. Like, what do we got to lose? And you know what I mean? So I think for us, you know, if anything, it gives us confidence in knowing that, you know, we can go out there and, you know, we're going to play free and we're going to give it everything we got.
Turnovers will be huge, or lack thereof, hopefully, for the Hawkeyes with Cade McNamara. Ohio State's quarterback, Will Howard, he's got a big arm. He's not known as a guy that will throw it, 50, 60 yards, but he's very accurate. He can also run the football. We watched Will play at Kansas State the last few years. He's a grad transfer. He's from Pennsylvania. He's thrown 105 passes, completed 72. That's 68.5%. 8 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. But he's also rushed for 3 touchdowns. They get down around that goal line. He's got that big body, 6'4", 235 pounds. He's not opposed to running the football. And then they have 2 absolute studs at running back. Travion Henderson, who had a great year last year. He is a senior out of Virginia, 5'10", a biscuit under 210 pounds. And then they brought in Quinshawn Judkins from Ole Miss, University of Mississippi, outstanding program. He is 220 pounds. He is a junior, transferred in from Ole Miss. And Judkins has been the guy. He's averaging 8 yards a carry through 4 games, excuse me. He's got 5 touchdowns, and he's broke one for 86 yards. So not only is he big and strong, but he is fast enough. Henderson's averaging 8 yards a carry. He's got 4 touchdowns, so they do spread the wealth in that Ohio State run game. And yet they've been known more as a passing attack. They have 2 outstanding talents in Emeka Egbuka. He's been there for a couple years, averaging 17 yards a catch. They may have the best freshman wide receiver in the country in college football. What else is new? Young man's name is Jeremiah Smith, 6'3", 215 pounds, out of Miami, Florida. He's got 5 touchdown catches, so they're gonna put it up. They've got great balance. They're strong at every position. Defensively, they're probably not as strong as the Ohio State defenses that we've seen in the past, front to back, but they're still very, very good. They've got some new players in the secondary, A couple defensive, they're a little bit thin at defensive tackle in terms of depth, like the Hawkeyes. We'll get more on that when Coach Ferentz gets here with his insight coming up shortly. Hawkeye Village is where you should be at every Hawkeye home game, presented by Hawkeye Village. Entertain your clients or employees at each home game in Hawkeye Village, right close to Kinnick, presented by Navigate Wellbeing Solutions. Village packages include game tickets and catered food. All you have to do is visit HawkeyeSports.com for more details. HawkeyeSports.com. Navigate Wellbeing Solutions, a proud partner of Hawkeye football. Okay, we'll take a break. Come right back with more here on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz from Learfield right after this.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Let's break it down. Innovative tech means smarter and safer driving. Intelligent all-wheel drive will keep you ready for anything. And built Ford tough trucks will always get the job done. Plus, come into your local Ford store today and get super low APR financing, big cash back, and great lease offers on Ford's full line of cars, trucks, and SUVs. That's Ford, and that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on calendar year sales.
At MidAmerican Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Hi, I'm Gary Dolphin, and if you want your home to be exceptionally comfortable during these cold Iowa winters and hot, humid summers, you need to turn to Dave Lennox and your local Lennox home comfort specialist. Lennox has been serving Iowa consumers since 1895, when Dave Lennox built his first furnace in Marshalltown, and Lennox is still building its high-efficiency furnaces and air conditioners there today. For the best home comfort system you can buy, it's Lennox and your local Lennox dealer. Lennox and the Hawkeyes. Now there's a winning combination.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
At US Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit US Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. US Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
Wow. We're back with the head coach of the Hawkeyes, Kirk Ferentz, has joined us now after, I won't say a respite. It was a bye week, but I know you were working hard and back at it. I'm sure the guys are anxious to get back on we're anxious to get back on the practice field after you gave them a few days off a week ago.
Yeah, it was a good week for everybody. I think the way it situated, we had 4 weeks of preseason, then 4 weeks of season, so it was 8 straight weeks of pretty intensive work, and good for everybody to step back, I think, take a breather a little bit, and staff and players, I think everybody need a little space, a little time, and gives the guys a chance to get everything, if they're a little behind on anything academically, get that in line, and you're up here for the next 6 weeks, and same thing as the coaching staff. We had a chance to look backwards a little bit, and then start to map out a plan for this opponent, and also gave everybody a little time off, and the staff was out recruiting Friday night, got to see some high school games, and then everybody took Saturday and just watched other people work a little bit. We're back at it Sunday, so yeah, it's been a good break, and I think the guys really handled it pretty well from what I could tell.
Timing is good. You got 6 straight weeks now of tough opponents, Big Ten football all the time now, and then the second bye week gets here, which is a new additive given the expansion to 18 teams. Do you like a bye this early in the season? I say this early. We're a month in.
Yeah, I do. It's interesting. Ohio State, I think, went 2 games and had a bye week, and 4 seems to be a good number, actually, because it gave us a chance. You certainly know more about your team after playing live competition 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. So it gave us a chance to kind of reassess some things and make some adjustments. And, hopefully we'll be a little smarter as we move forward now. And that's an ongoing process as the year goes on because you just keep learning more and more about your team. But I do like that. I think it came at a good time, and I like the fact now that it's a 6-week block. That's going to go quick. Once you get the season going, it goes fast. And we'll catch our breaths for a short time and then finish up with 2 more games. So, it all happens bang, bang. But to have, I think, a little pause in there is a good thing.
Now, Minnesota seems like it was a month ago, but the leftovers from that, as you reviewed the tape and talked to your guys and talked to the coaches, what pleased you most about that effort in Minneapolis?
Yeah, just a lot of things. First of all, to your point, we're finishing up a 4-week block, and to go into a bye week 3-1 as opposed to 2-2, it's a world of difference just, psychologically and a lot of other ways too. But I think the single biggest thing about it was just the response of the team in the second half. Certainly, we didn't have a good run there that last 10 minutes of the first half. It was, they just basically controlled us in every regard. They had 2 possessions for, roughly 170 yards, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I think about, 15 plays, something like that. That same time zone, we had about 11 yards offensively in 6 plays. So they were coming downhill on us. The fans were into it. So the fact that we've gone on the road now and played in a tough environment, and that 10 minutes was a tough 10-minute stretch. The place is going crazy. But really proud of the way our guys regrouped at halftime and came out and played just an excellent second half. So the one thing, there's a lot of things we haven't done yet, but one obvious thing is we haven't played a complete game 60 minutes, and it's going to take that this week. We're playing an opponent that's extremely talented, extremely well coached, and it's a tough environment. So, this would be a good time for us to just kind of pull everything together and, go for the full 60, hopefully, without putting ourselves in a hole.
Yeah, in that vein, burned into my memory was you coming out at halftime talking to Rob Brooks about we can't keep coming up 2nd and 9, 3rd and 8. We need to finish drives, sustain drives, and that's even doubly important this weekend.
Yeah, it is, and to that point, 3rd and longs are really tough, and the way you get there is because you didn't do well on 1st or 2nd down. So, if you don't, negative yardage plays are bad just in general, but if you make 1 or 2 yards first down, that's not a reason to get all excited. As long as you come back and get another 3-5 yards somewhere in that ballpark, so that you got into the makeable thirds. But once you start getting into those 3rd and longs, it's really difficult. So that's just not a good thing, obviously, and it puts a lot of pressure on everybody, the offensive line, the quarterback, the receivers. Once you're one-dimensional, it's really tough. So being balanced and being effective in the run game is going to help us. I think another positive thing about that night, I thought it was the most comfortable that Cade McNamara's looked. And I know the stats weren't, jump off the chart at all, but I thought he played really well. Looked like he was in total control. Looked, I don't want to say relaxed out there, but looked just, comfortable and was operating the offense. And, there are a couple close calls in there that, we had a chance to convert. We didn't. And if we're going to move forward, we're going to have to make some of those plays because they were there to be made. But, that would have made a big impact on the stats. And, quite frankly, I'm not overwhelmed with stats right now or over-worried or over-concerned by them. But it's all about the improvement. And a lot of times just little things can make a big, big adjustment or a big difference in terms of production and outcomes. And that's where we're at as a team right now. We got to start doing some little things a little bit better. And, again, it's going to be a little tougher this week because of the competition. Those windows are going to be pretty tight.
Well, let me tie the next 2 comments together, Coach, on Facebook at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. Ken says the Iowa running game is spectacular. What needs to develop in the complementary in the passing attack to play that complementary football that you're always talking about? Well, you get Seth Anderson back this week and LeSean Williams. That should help.
Yeah, hopefully it'll help. It's always good to get guys that have done some things out there, get them back and get them involved. And but again, the passing game, I thought we were closer, actually, that night to being where we want to be. And, again, a lot of times it's just little things in execution, whether it's protection breaking down, a receiver not making a catch that he needs to make, or not running the right route. That happens at times, too. We had a couple of those the other night, so that really throws the quarterback off because he's expecting one thing. And, so the bottom line, it's like anything in football. There are 11 guys involved, and you're never quite sure what that area might be that you have to pinpoint to get corrections. But that's why practice is so important. That's why players understand and valuing what details are and what they mean and how they impact things. And that's an ongoing process.
Cade McNamara at quarterback for the Hawkeyes again this weekend. He was asked about playing in a hostile environment like you'll find on Saturday at Columbus.
What you dream of as, when you're envisioning yourself playing in college football, and you envision yourself playing in hostile environments and big games, and I think, those are the ones that you look forward to most. And, every single game counts, but it's even cooler when, it's a sold-out crowd. And, and I think, for every guy, those are the opportunities that you look forward to. And, we definitely have one this week.
Well, Cade's been in some big-time environments when he was quarterbacking at Michigan and certainly here at Iowa, Coach. And he's ready for the moment. He's a veteran. He's a wily, war-tested soldier.
Yeah, it sure helps to have players that have been there. Yeah, there's no question about that. And you can't hand a player experience. They've got to go out and play and be in those environments and against good opponents. And he certainly has done that. So, and on that topic of environments, I think that's one of the great things about our conference. And certainly it's changed now. Saw a team playing in the Coliseum the other day, a Big Ten game in the Coliseum. That's not something you see every day, certainly. So it's a new world that we're in right now. But the traditional schools in the Big Ten, all are unique, and they're all have their nuances, if you will, and challenges when you go to them. And then, now we've added four new teams, and that's going to be a brave new world too. So we'll get to sample that later in the year, but. That's one of the great things about conference football. And the Big Ten's always been that way. It's a traditional conference, and now we're adding 4 new teams, so it's a whole new world that way. But again, I think just playing in these great environments, and that may be more important than you're playing against good competition week in and week out. So having experienced players and players that have been exposed to some of these things previously, it's not a bad thing.
Plenty of wily veteran leadership on both these teams. Ohio State has 16 starters back from that terrific team a year ago, but they've also got a handful of outstanding transfers. Let's start with quarterback Will Howard. We've watched him grow up at Kansas State. Now here he is, a fifth-year grad student, big guy. He's been very, very accurate throwing the football, but he can also run it.
Yeah, he can, and I think in general, just as you look at Ohio State, they've recruited well forever. Like, they have a lot of really good players and always have had. And then to your point, talking about the transfers, I think they've been really strategic. I'm an outsider looking in. I'm hardly an expert on their program, but I think they've been really smart about how they've gone about it. Excuse me. Will Howard being a great example of that. They had an obvious need at quarterback, and he looks like the perfect fit. They've got an outstanding receiver core. Which are all, homegrown. They felt like they needed a little bit more help, another complimentary back. I'm not sure that they did, but they've got a couple pretty good ones that were already there. But the young guy they picked up from Mississippi, outstanding football player, and I guess they felt they were short one guy up front, and they picked up a guy from Alabama to play center for him. So, if you look around their roster, and same thing on defense, they've got a couple guys there that are transfer students, and it's a really good job of, seeing where they might have a need, and instead of trying to, grow one, they went out and got a guy that's established, tight end from Ohio University. So they've done a really good job building their roster, and they've been a great recruiting team. They're a great NIL team. I think they're up there, leading the country in that regard too. So it's, but they've done it really, I think, intelligently, and you have to compliment them. When you watch them play, they really complement each other, and good talent everywhere. And obviously, there's probably no position more important than the quarterback position. Will Howard's done a great job, very accurate with his throws. Yeah, and he's getting the ball, spreading it around to all the guys they have that can make plays. Travion Henderson's been there for a couple of years at running back, but to your point, they go out and bring in Quinshawn Judkins out of Ole Miss. Now here he is,
kid out of Alabama. He's a veteran junior. They're both averaging 8 yards a carry. They're both very capable.
They're both outstanding players, and it's probably the one problem they got. I mean, I don't know how they keep harmony, because they got a lot of guys that can do things with the football, and both those running backs, and number 20 is a really dangerous player too. So 3 guys there, and then the 3 top receivers. They've got a bunch of good receivers, but the 3 top guys are all capable of breaking it for a game breaker at any point. So they put a lot of pressure on you defensively. You can't just say, okay, we're going to make them play left-handed. They got to run the ball this game, or vice versa, because they do a good job. And then Chip Kelly's the offensive coordinator, and he makes you defend every inch of the field out there, sideline to sideline, and they'll go deep with it too. So it's it's a real challenge. It's going to be a real challenge for our defensive team, and again, you can't load up, so everybody's just got to do a heck of a job playing their positions.
Guard your yard, as they like to say in
Boy.
basketball. Abuka and Jeremiah Smith are their top 2 receivers, but they've got 6 or 7 guys they can throw it to. They're that deep. It is, after all, Ohio State. All right, Coach, we'll take a break here. Come back in just a minute from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn. We're on the 12th floor. We're here until 8 o'clock tonight. Time for you to stop by and say hi to Coach Ferentz. In the meantime, we'll take a break. But first, don't fight hungry, Iowa. With Wendy's new Hawkeye Biggie Bundle, score a JBC, 4-piece nugs, junior fry, small soft drink, and a small Frosty at the Iowa nice price of just $7. Grab Herky's favorite at a participating Wendy's for a limited time only. And go Hawks. Wendy's and the Hawkeyes. Great combination. Back with more Hawk Talk. We'll go more heavy on Facebook, Twitter, and your posts when we return for Coach Ferentz on Hawk Talk from Learfield.
Join Michelle Altmeyer on the Hawkeye Tailgate Show at the official watch party headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Grove Brewery. For each away game, check out the Hawkeye Tailgate pregame show live at Big Grove in Iowa City. Big Grove is your official Hawkeye game watch destination with game day parties in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Iowa City.
You might think Iowa grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Corn can even fuel your drive to watch the Hawkeyes play when you choose Unleaded 88. It's a fuel that's cheaper, cleaner, and greener. Plus, it's homegrown, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. So as you head to cheer on the Hawkeyes this season, don't just fuel up. Pump it up with Unleaded 88. Find Unleaded 88 at a station near you. Go to iowacorn.org/88.
When you live in the Midwest, you're accustomed to leading the nation in certain things, from corn and pork production to eggs and soybeans. And now we're adding another product to that list, clean, renewable wind energy. By investing in wind turbines and partnering with area farmers and landowners, Mid-American Energy is harvesting wind power that's homegrown right in our very own backyard, which not only provides customers with low, stable energy rates, but also the support to make our Midwest communities safer and stronger.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit U.S. Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. U.S. Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
At U.S. Bank, when they say they're in it with you, they mean it. Not just for the good stuff, the grand openings and celebrations, although those are pretty great, but for all the hard work it took to get there, the fine-tuning of goals, the managing of cash and workflows, and decision-making. They're in to help you through all of it, because together they're proving day in and day out that there is nothing as powerful as the power of us. Visit usbank.com to get started today. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, copyright 2024, U.S. Bank.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bose, pediatric neurologist with University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. Support Iowa's corn farmers by pumping up with Unleaded 88. Fuel your drive to the game with a clear choice at the pump. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, greener, and homegrown. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is, corn grows Iowa. Let's go Hawks.
Hawk Talk Live with head football coach Kirk Ferentz. Welcome back to View Rooftop in the Hilton Garden Inn. I'm Gary Dolphin. Appreciate you joining us. We're back in the groove here after a week off with the Hawks' first bye. And now it's on to Ohio State. 2:30 for the kickoff. 12:30 for the pregame coverage here on the Hawkeye Radio Network coming up on Saturday. Again, don't forget, if you're headed to Columbus, and many of you are, they got a chartered flight out there and a few other chartered flights. That's the excitement around Hawkeye football this year. But don't forget about the Hawkeye Huddle. That'll start at 11:30 Iowa time at the Fawcett Center on Olentangy River Road, flows right by the Horseshoe in Columbus, and that starts at 11:30. We'll run for a couple hours, and you can walk right to the stadium from the Fawcett Center for Iowa and Ohio State. We were talking, Kirk, before you got here, really one of the great blue blood programs, but certainly one of the great edifices in all of college football. Is built in 1922. Kinnick Stadium was built in the late 1920s. So they're two great stadiums built in the same mold, and it's always loud with that cantilevered upper deck. That noise hits the undercarriage of that top deck and just cascades back down on the field. And it's hard for an opposing quarterback. Now we got the helmet cam, or helmet comm, the electronic audio signals coming in, which hopefully makes it a little bit easier, but it's still a difficult place to play.
It is, and I felt that way in the 80s when I was here, and it certainly is no different now. Not that we go there every year, but it's always tough going in there. And yeah, the commonalities are the stadium itself presents some challenges. Their fans are very enthusiastic. And typically, things you can count on. They're always going to be sold out. They're always going to be enthusiastic, and they always have a good team on the field. So it's those have been common denominators really since 1981. Hasn't changed a heck of a lot, and so you know what you're going up against there. And it's again, if you want to play college football or being involved in college football, it's one of the great things about it. It gives you a chance to go measure yourself a little bit and see where you stand and stack up, and it's it's going to be great for our guys to have that opportunity.
You could say that about most venues in the Big Ten, from the Big House to Camp Randall to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. But this week it's all about Ohio State and homegrown young man Luke Lachey, our outstanding tight end, all Big Ten. He grew up within the shadows almost of the Horseshoe, and Luke's going back for his final trip, at least as a player.
I think anyone's dream growing up in Columbus is to play at Ohio State, but and I'm so fortunate to have ended up being an Iowa Hawkeye. It was, when in the moment, it was where I wanted to be. Whether or not Ohio State had offered, when I was really coming down to it, I wanted to be an Iowa Hawkeye because it was the best place for me. They do a great job of developing, and obviously coming out of high school, I was nowhere near a finished product, so I thought it was the best place for me. So certainly everyone's dream is to be able to play in the Horseshoe growing up, but I have the unique opportunity to do it with my teammates here at Iowa, so I'm super excited for it.
Well, maybe he pulls off a Marv Cook on that deep slant touchdown as time's running out. That would be great. There are not enough superlatives to go around in describing this young man and his family.
Yeah, Luke it's no big surprise. I mean, we were just so impressed with him in high school, and I got to know his family through the recruiting process. So just outstanding people. I knew of Jim, his dad, through his pro career. He had an outstanding career in the Big Ten. I miss that, but, exposed to him in the NFL, what a tremendous performer he was. Had a great career, and they have been just great parents, very, very supportive of us, our entire team and program, and then, very supportive of Luke, too. And, I just, not to overstate it, but I just think, if you look at the guys that have played really well for us, the family involvement and family support is so important and so helpful for guys. And whether it's a single parent, double parent, whatever it may be, but just somebody who really, reinforces the right messages and is, just really encouraging with their young sons. Because I tell you, going to college is not easy, and then, playing major college football and all the things that we ask our guys to do, the standards that we hold them to, and it's not easy. So, they've been great family, and another nice little thing you get to watch is how the families mesh,
for sure.
I think back in December when Luke made the decision he was going to stay in school and come back for another year, I talked to both Jim and Ann that night, and I think they were happier than he was, actually. So it was kind of it's good, though. That's just the way it's supposed to be, and I think they were looking forward to another year of getting to follow their son. And then, as you know, Jim's situation's a little bit different because he's in the same business you are.
Yes, he is.
But he did tell me when I saw him at Media Days that he was going to be able to catch 3 games, this being one of them, but catch 3 of Luke's games, so he's very excited about that.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Jim not only was a great player at Ohio State and in the National Football League, Luke's dad, but he's a 28-year analyst, color commentator. He's their Pat Anger, Ed Podolak, if you will, with Paul Keels, who does a great job of the play-by-play. And when the Hawks do get to Columbus, Jim and Ann and the family hosts 4 or 5 sets of Hawkeye parents.
Yep,
and they have a great time the night before the game. So it's always fun to hang out with the Lacheys. They're just great people. They come to the bowl games, certainly if they can. And we hopefully Luke has a great showing on Saturday, along with the rest of the passing game. But in that vein, Kirk, give us a paragraph or two about the defense that Luke Lachey and the offense will be facing.
Yeah, I mean, they're a veteran team just in general, and certainly, it's reflective here, both up front and the back end. They've got, really good players, and I'm minimizing the linebackers. They graduated a really good middle linebacker, and one of their defensive tackles graduated also, but went to the Browns, I believe. But 58's his replacement, and he's outstanding. Both their ends are strong, aggressive, and they're big inside. But the ends are really strong and aggressive and play strong. Not just are they strong, they really play strong. Veterans in the back, I think they're all guys that have Big Ten, all Big Ten mention and awards in the past their career. And then linebackers are very, very athletic, very active. Number 7's kind of their Sebastian Castro, if you will.
Jordan
their
Hancock, he's 195 pounds.
And they'll play him as a linebacker at times, and then they'll also play 3 backers if they want to match up with a little bigger personnel. So, very good defense. And probably the bigger, overview, Jim Knowles, the coordinator, went there this is his 3rd year, I believe, there now, came from Okie State. And it just seems like he's really stabilized what they're doing defensively. And I don't know if they were having problems before that or not. There was a gap where we didn't play him for a while. But since he's come, they've got a really, very impressive system. They're well coached and they play hard, so they're tough to move the ball against.
Their defensive ends, Jack Sawyer and J.T. Tuiamaloa. I remember him from a couple of years ago. He's a senior now, but they found him out in the state of Washington.
Yep.
Of course, Ohio State recruits nationally, internationally, but they're kind of like Iowa. They're a little thin depth-wise at defensive tackle, but, boy, the guys they got there, you mentioned Ty Hamilton, 295-pounder at 6'3", from Pickerington Central, which is a pretty good high school program, as you know. They've got the guys each and every year. Hancock on one side at the nickelback. They brought Sonny Stiles in from safety to play linebacker, and he's up to 235 pounds. He was like 200 a year ago.
He's doing just fine. Yeah. So he's he's very, very active, tough to block, and so is number 0 there. He's a really good player, good active guy, and 20 will jump in there when they go 3 backers. You'll see him in there playing too. So, and going back to Hamilton, it's interesting. They list him at 295. He looks like he's about 260 out there. Just looks really lean. So, and he plays strong. That's they're very physical, very strong group up there, and well coached. So it's a tough group.
All right, Coach. Let's go to that's a look at the Buckeyes. Let's go to Twitter and Facebook. Wilson. How much harder do you prepare for a highly ranked team compared to an unranked team? Well, probably the same every week, isn't it?
Yeah, the routine is really pretty similar, and I think the biggest thing is just making sure your players really understand what's going to be important, and we don't do things a lot differently. Our practice schedules are fairly similar, and we tweak and alter them as the year goes on based on how the team's doing health-wise, how fresh they are, those types of things, and just in general terms, we start cutting back minutes about the midway mark. So we're practicing less in the month of November than we do in September for obvious reasons. But the routine is pretty much the same. And, But I think probably the most significant thing I would say to address the question is what players need to understand is just as when you play a team like this, the margin for anything is the window's a little bit smaller than it would be maybe against a lot of teams. And I'll go back references yesterday at the press conference, that 08 game against Penn State. Remember Sean Green hitting a hole, and I'm standing there watching. I'm thinking, okay, we got about a 10-yard gain here, and ended up being 5 because they had Navarro Bowman, who San Francisco drafted.
He wasn't bad.
Yeah, he could be, but man, he closed that gap fast. So that's a big difference. These guys are every one of their guys can close gaps, and just makes things have to be a little bit more precise and happen a little quicker.
Speed to go with size and instincts. Yep. Eugene on Twitter, at Gary Dolphin. Coach, the middle zone running plays have been spectacular this year. Is that all tied to the ability for the lineman to pull? Is that key to the success? Certainly is a big part of it.
Yeah, we have a couple of kinds of plays. The zone play that he's talking about, really nobody's pulling on that, but we do have some counter plays or down schemes where the guys are pulling. So we try to mix them both in. And one of Caleb's touchdowns the other day was an inside run, but it was off 2 guys pulling. And then, as we talked about at the break, Jacob Gill did a great job coming in and blocking, and actually took 2 guys out. So that really opened it up for Caleb. He was very patient, and then hit the hole on the outside and bounced it out for a touchdown. So did a great job going to the left there. But yeah, it's a mixture of things, and I think probably a big part. Caleb is running better than he's ever run in his career, and it's his 3rd year. So you hope guys are maturing and improving as they get older, and that's certainly the case with him. And it's been a big factor. And then our line play. Yeah, we're just a more veteran team than we've been. Yeah, and it's been a rough couple of years for our linemen. Whether it be injuries, inexperience, we just hasn't been able to execute and perform the way we'd like to. And I think we're a little closer. We're not there yet, but we're closer now than we were certainly a year ago or 2 years ago.
Wide receivers are really blocking well for you, Coach, those that are playing regularly anyway. And you mentioned patience with Caleb Johnson. That's a virtue when you're an inside running back. It's hard to hit the Jets or wait and be patient to hit the Jets, but he's really got that down to a T and waiting for those blockers to finish their job.
Yeah, the receivers, when they're blocking, have some ground to cover, so it takes a while for them to get in there and do what they have to do. But yeah, I thought that one run really illustrated it. Caleb kind of knew what was going on and could see it setting up, so he just gave Jacob time to get in there and do what he does, and he benefited from it. That's how big plays happen. So it's a little bit like the passing game. The more guys get involved, the more guys do their job, the better chance you have for a very successful play. In that case, it was extremely successful.
Larry wants to know, Coach, what have been your thoughts on the difference of having offensive coordinator Lester in the booth instead of on the field? How's that worked out?
Yeah, it really depends on the coach. Seeing it both ways, and I don't want to say one is more popular than the other, but the only downside for Tim, I think, is not being able to maybe talk to the quarterbacks face to face or grab the whole group. So we're doing that on the sidelines, and he's on the phone with them obviously and talking through every series. So you miss out on that, but the benefit is he gets to see the whole field better, and instead of having to rely on somebody else telling him what was going on in the back end, those types of things, and it's a little bit more of a sterile environment, so you can get your thoughts together and. You got some workspace, all those kinds of things. So there are definitely some benefits. I think it's basically a personal preference of the coach involved.
Let's see here, Coach. I'm looking for, let's go to Facebook. Brett on Facebook at facebook.com/Voice of the Hawks. Coach, many people talk about many things as keys to a game at a place like Ohio State. In that environment, what's your major key or top keys to a victory? Thanks, and go Hawks. Well, there's got to be a number of them. Don't turn the ball over, number one.
I was going to say number one would be turnover takeaway margin, certainly. And if there's one stat in 25 years it's held up, it's longer than 25 years, I can assure you. But my time here, that's really big. And maybe the outlier there, our 09 season, we had a very successful season, but our turnover takeaway margin was not what we'd want it to be. And part of that was, Ricky liked to throw an interception to get the game going. That's just the way he likes to operate. But it worked out pretty well. So
sure did.
that was kind of the outlier. But turnover takeaway margin starts right there. And then when you go in against a team like this, you just really have to keep your poise because they're going to make some plays. They've got some guys that are going to make some plays. So you've got to be able to, ride the flow a little bit. And if they do make plays, you just got to keep chipping away, and not get discouraged. And I think the other part about that, which ties into that point, you have to try to minimize big plays. And we've been victimized a little bit with that. And that's on both sides of the ball, giving up sacks, major penalties, things like that. We're giving up a big play defensively. So you got to minimize those things. And that's one thing that shows up on Ohio State's film. You lose track of how many big plays they've had involving the receivers, involving the two backs. And, if you can't slow that part of the game down, you're going to be, if you look at it, I think it's 104 points to 24 at halftime right now over four games. So you got to get it in the second half, and you can't do that if you're giving up big plays. You really got to make them work. If they get it down there, hold them to a field goal. And if we get it down there, we've got to score points, whether it's a field goal, touchdown. Michigan State's a good example. They had two turnovers in the red zone, and then they got stopped on a 4th and 1. So they had 3 opportunities there that were good scoring opportunities, but they came in with no points in all 3 of those cases. And that's not going to cut it against these guys. So we really, getting back to that, the margin for error and how tight the windows are, you just have to understand that for 60 minutes. We just got to be competing every play as hard as we can.
Time for a break on Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz. We'll be right back to View Rooftop in the Hilton Garden Inn from Learfield after this.
Hey there, sports fans. Hungry for a legendary experience? Look no further than Bumps Restaurants, proudly named after the legendary Bump Elliott. Nestled right at the Finkbine Golf Course on Melrose Avenue, Bumps is your go-to spot for mouth-watering meals. Present your ticket from today's game at Bumps and get a buy one appetizer, get the second appetizer free deal. Offer good through the next home game. See you soon off Melrose Avenue at the Finkbine Golf Course. Bumps Restaurant, a legendary place with legendary food.
Are you ready to take a sweet trip down memory lane? Come on, let's head straight to the bake sale, only at Quick Star. Craving those fresh, oven-baked cookies like Grandma used to make? The Quickery's got them, baked with love and a touch of that old-fashioned goodness. In a rush? Grab a muffin for just $1.19. A perfect on-the-go treat. From glazers to cake donuts. Indulge at the bake sale. So what are you waiting for? Treat yourself, only at Quick Star.
When it comes to your health, you need the full picture. That means the right diagnosis and the right treatment right from the start. I'm Aaron Bowes, pediatric neurologist with the University of Iowa Healthcare. Here, we're working together every day to advance medicine so you can get the best care. With more research, more clinical trials, and more treatment options than anywhere else in the state, the University of Iowa Healthcare is changing medicine and changing lives. Learn more at uihc.org.
Hey Hawkeye fans, Jenks Dunker with Iowa Football here. Your support in the stands is critical to our success on game day, but now you have another way to make a real impact. Join the Swarm today and partner with my teammates and me to service charities throughout Iowa. Together we're making our state stronger and helping Iowa athletics become the place where we experience the thrill of winning championships. Head to iowaswarm.com for more information. Let's make a difference, Hawkeye Nation.
The silly moments, the proud moments, even the hard moments. They're what make life remarkable. And they're why Wellmark Blue Cross and Blue Shield is here for every moment. Committed to making healthcare better, more affordable, with more choices for care. And service and coverage that give you peace of mind no matter what comes your way. So you can show up for every tender moment, every brave moment, and every wouldn't miss it for the world moment, knowing that Blue is here for you. Go to Wellmark.com/every moment to find a plan right for you.
Hello, Hawkeye fans. This is Bruce Gerlman, and I own Jethro's Barbecue. Have you heard the news? It's really big news. Jethro's Barbecue is now open in Coralville. That's right, across from the Hawkeye softball diamonds on the Coralville Strip. Jethro's is your game day headquarters. Call ahead and order your tailgate barbecue from Jethro's. Before the game, during the game, after the game, stop in Jethro's and eat my amazing slow smoked wings and my world famous baby back ribs.
Final 15 or 20 minutes of Hawk Talk with Kirk Ferentz. Welcome back to View Rooftop, downtown Iowa City at the beautiful Hilton Garden Inn. Let's welcome our kid captain for this week, 15-year-old Hayden Ulrich of Cedar Rapids. Hayden had been healthy until she was 7 when she started experiencing neck pain and began sleeping for 22 hours at a time. My goodness, numerous tests finally led to a diagnosis of a type of cancer affecting blood and bone marrow. So for 2 years, Hayden, Haidyn, received chemo along with treatments to mitigate the effects of the chemo. Her treatment ended in April of 2018, and she's remained cancer-free ever since. Standing O for Hayden Ulrich. Ulrich, hope I got that right, Hayden. This week's University of Iowa Healthcare Stead Family Children's Hospital kid captain. Hayden, I'm guessing somewhere in that spelling is Hayden Fry's memory.
The information I got said that actually she was named after Hayden, so it's a great thing, and another great story. And another young lady who wants to be a nurse. I know.
No kidding.
Yeah, she wants to be a nurse as well, and as I understand, is taking classes at Kirkwood while she's graduating from high school. So it'd be great to have Hayden on our thoughts this week.
I got a great picture of Hayden on Channel 9.2 KCRG. We've had some animated kid captains out there at center field this year and on the road.
Isn't that great?
They dance around, jump up and down. I think that speaks volumes for the great treatment they receive at Stead Family Children's Hospital. All right, Coach, back to Twitter and Facebook. Lynn in Cedar Falls, how has the new 2-minute warning impacted the game so far? Has it been accepted by most teams as a positive addition to the game? Well, I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. There's a little clock management issue with it. You know it's coming. So there is a clock management issue with it. You can take advantage of in certain circumstances. So it's one more part of the game where it gives you some pause and reason to think about strategies, those types of things. But the good news is it's just part of the TV. They didn't add one more TV timeout, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So it just seems like we have so many TV timeouts, and at least it burns one of them, which is a good thing.
Well, and saves you one if you get in crunch time late in the game. You know that 2-minute warning is coming.
Yeah, you can use it to your advantage if so.
Sure. Thank you for the question, Lynn in Cedar Falls. Danny in Corning. Corning now is where Johnny Carson was born.
How about that?
If you knew that or not, hometown of Johnny Carson, out in the west part of the state. What happened to the hawk that would fly down out of the press box onto the field during pregame ceremonies? Have I missed it, or have they stopped doing it? Well, they stopped doing it for this year. They had a terrible fire out at the Raptor Center at Lake McBride out near Solon, I think this past winter, if I'm not mistaken. Several of the birds that are not allowed to be released anymore because they were brought in injured, and that could be eagles to hawks to falcons, perished in that fire, so they're a little bit low on their numbers. They do plan, the last word I got was they do plan to bring the hawk back to Kinnick Stadium hopefully next year. So not that you would have a comment on that, but you've never had one fly close to you, have you?
Yeah, I apologize, but I have absolutely zero knowledge of
I'll tell you
any of what you just said.
My favorite memory was last year. They let her go. I think it was Hercules, and they have a guy in the middle of the field with a piece of quail meat, and he's throwing the quail meat up in the air, and the hawk's supposed to fly right at it, but 70,000 people go crazy. Hercules got down near the sideline and said, "Man, this looks like a great crowd." She took a hard right and did about 3 laps around Kinnick Stadium. I thought, oh boy, this is not going to end well. And in the end, pounced on the quail. Who doesn't like a free meal, right?
There you go.
And so that's my favorite memory of the Raptors. But hopefully they do a great job out there. The rehab center, the Raptor Center at Lake McBride. Lisa from Burlington wonders if either of you were able to watch the vice presidential debate last night. Well, I'm sure you were glued to the TV.
Yeah, I think I missed that one.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That would be no, neither one of us, Lisa, but thanks for the question. Final break. We'll come back, wrap it up for this week's Hawk Talk with Coach Ferentz right after this from View Rooftop in the Hilton Garden Inn.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Kirk Ferentz. My players know that success on and off the field requires a strong work ethic with a focus on improvement. Our players share the drive and determination of Iowa farm families, and that's why we're proud to wear the America Needs Farmers logo on our helmets. Please join the Hawkeyes and the Iowa Farm Bureau as we celebrate farmers during A&F Game Day on October 12th. For more information and to win game day tickets, visit americaneedsfarmers.org.
Join Michelle Altmeyer on the Hawkeye Tailgate Show at the official watch party headquarters of the Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Grove Brewery. For each away game, check out the Hawkeye Tailgate pregame show live at Big Grove in Iowa City. Big Grove is your official Hawkeye game watch destination with game day parties in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Solon, and Iowa City.
Hey Hawkeyes, this is Coach Ferentz. We're excited to partner with Iowa Corn for another football season. And Iowa Corn is pumped up for the season with the Hawkeyes. For those of you that drive to the game, support Iowa's corn farmers by selecting unleaded 88 at the pump. It's a fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet. It's worth the hype. Get pumped up for unleaded 88. Let's go Hawks.
At Mid-American Energy, our 1.6 million customers depend on our energy 24/7. That's why we work 24/7 to deliver the safe, reliable energy you need. To keep our 99.9% reliability record, we're enhancing our technology, improving resiliency, and investing in critical infrastructure. We're generating power from all available resources to cover any increases in demand. And we're innovating to ensure you always have the energy you need. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
At US Cellular, we believe in having healthy relationships with our phones, so we can have better relationships with each other. Introducing Us Mode, a way to set your phone for less distraction and deeper connection. So dinner can sound less like this and more like this.
What'd you learn today?
The sauropod was the tallest dinosaur ever.
Oh my goodness.
Visit US Cellular in-store or online, and we'll help set your phone to Us Mode, even if you're not a customer. US Cellular, the 5G network built for us. See uscellular.com for details.
Step into the action with the Fight for Iowa podcast. Join host Gary Dolphin as he takes you behind the scenes with Hawkeye coaches, athletes, and alumni. Tune in weekly on HawkeyeSports.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Your front row seat to Hawkeye athletics.
Hawk Talk wrapping up tonight from View Rooftop in downtown Iowa City. It's a high-energy rooftop bar with spectacular views of downtown Iowa City. View Rooftop, located on the 12th floor of the Hilton Garden Inn, features a distinctly modern escape filled with a unique outdoor design, and it's all that. Surrounded by glass, you can take a panoramic view of downtown Iowa City and the surrounding Johnson County terrain. Open all day on Hawkeye football game days like this Saturday against Ohio State with tailgate specials. View Rooftop, providing a memorable experience for food, music, and fantastic views of Iowa City's skyline. Call 319-519-4650, 319-519-4650, and set up your View Rooftop reservation today. On the U.S. Bank scoreboard, it's primarily baseball tonight. The Mets now have forged ahead of Milwaukee 3-1 up in, I still want to call it County Stadium, up in Milwaukee at Brewers Park. I know they got a new name there. I can't think it's an insurance company. I don't want to misidentify it. So we'll just say they're in Milwaukee. Mets won last night 8-4. And they could eliminate the Brew Crew here in the best of three unless Milwaukee rallies are in the bottom of the fourth inning. Lots of baseball there. Kansas City eliminated Baltimore, and Detroit knocked out the Houston Astros earlier today, if you missed that action. All right. Coach Ferentz, I know you're delighted with your middle linebacker, All-American Jay Higgins. Here are his thoughts on the Ohio State offense.
They always got playmakers. Yeah. They always got a pretty good receiver. They always got a pretty good running back. Got to be a good tackling team versus Ohio State. They live off big plays. They live off guys missing tackles. They live off extra effort, like any good offense would. So our job is to get as many guys to the ball as possible. Yeah, I think their running backs are really good at setting up gaps. Obviously, their offensive line is extremely talented as well, creating those gaps. But their running backs, I haven't seen them miss a gap yet, and they're always running through arm tackles. They do a good job of running through contact, getting upfield and fighting for every yard.
Interesting that Ryan Day in his weekly press conference on Monday said when you play Iowa, you better tackle more than Caleb Johnson. You got to be sure tacklers. Any coach worth his weight, Kirk, understands that you tackle and then you wrap the guy up and get him on the ground. Don't let him get an extra 3 or 4 yards. You mentioned that earlier. Those exactly were Ryan Day's words a little bit ago.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to play good defense, you have to be a good tackling team, and it's getting a little tougher and tougher because people, less contact. You really see it in the NFL. It's amazing how few teams really do a great job of, tackling consistently, especially in the back end. But, it's just kind of the evolution of the game. But, defending big plays and then obviously tackling is part of that. And it's really going to be true this week because, as Jay just said, both their running backs are very, very strong. They're physical. And they get where they're supposed to get, and they get there with force and with speed. And then, they do a great job, too, of, getting the ball on the perimeter. And the receivers are all three of them are capable of taking the ball and going the distance with it. They're all good runners with the ball in their hand. And the other key ingredient there, and the reason they're able to do this, and they've done it unbelievably well for 4 weeks, all those guys are very unselfish. They're good blockers as well. So it may be one of any of the 3 guys getting the ball, and then the other 2 guys do a good job blocking. They're hard to get away from, and because they're big guys. So you got to really lock out and keep separation, and then you got to play to the ball. But it all starts with setting an edge out there, not letting them just control getting you where they've got lanes, and now one guy's got to make a tackle out and all kinds of space. They do a really good job of putting pressure on you that way, and to that point too, getting inside pursuit. Trying to set edges, force the ball back inside so the guys inside can have a chance to get at it. But it's easier said than done. They do a really nice job.
Well, there are no more sure tacklers than Higgins, Nick Jackson, Sebastian Castro, Quinn Schulte, and others.
We're going to have to be at our best.
Everybody.
That's the great thing about this.
Everybody on deck Saturday, 2:30 for the kick, 12:30 for the pregame show here on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Don't forget about the Fawcett Center hosting the Hawkeye Huddle. That starts at 11:30 Iowa time. We'll talk then. Thanks to Coach Ferentz. Thanks to everybody here at the View Rooftop. Thanks for coming out tonight on Hawk Talk with the coach. I'm Gary Dolphin. Good night, everybody.
On the Hawkeye Sports Network from Learfield, live from View Rooftop at the Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Iowa City. Hawk Talk has been brought to you by Mid-American Energy. Call 811 before you dig. It's the law. Visit MidAmericanEnergy.com for natural gas safety tips. Iowa corn. You might think Iowa just grows corn, but the truth is corn grows Iowa. Brought to you by Iowa's corn farmers of the Iowa Corn Growers Association and the Iowa Corn Promotion Board. By your local Ford dealers. U.S. Cellular, the official wireless partner of the Iowa Hawkeyes. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Also brought to you by University of Iowa Healthcare, changing medicine, changing lives. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Hawkeye Sports Network.